Hey there, everybody. My name is Oliver Rodriguez, and I'm an IBM Cloud Technology Evangelist. And today I'm going to be showing you the Vaadin Boilerplate found in Bluemix. So before we get started, there's two things we're going to need. First, you're going to need a Bluemix account. You can get one by going to bluemix.net and signing up for an account. And the next thing you'll need is a JazzHub account, or also known as an IBM Bluemix DevOps Services account. So to get that, just go to hub.jazz.net and sign up for an account. So to get started, we need to go to the catalog and instantiate the boilerplate. So to do that, go to the catalog tab at the top right of the Bluemix page. This will open up the catalog for Bluemix. This is where all of our boilerplates, runtimes, and services are listed. So the boilerplate that we're going to be looking at today is the Vaadin Rich Web Starter. So go ahead and click on that. That will bring up this page, and this shows you what comes within the boilerplate. So this boilerplate specifically comes with a Liberty for Java runtime and an SQL database for storing data. So to get started on creating this instance, let's go ahead and give this an application name. Now this name has to be unique, since this will be the host name for your application, meaning that this is what people are going to type into the browser to see your running app. So what I like to do is I like to add my initials and then an application name of some sort. So down here you see the different plans associated with the runtime and the service. For now, we'll just leave that as default. When you're done, go ahead and hit create. So what's happening now is Bluemix is configuring all the infrastructure under your application. So it's creating a container for you and setting up your runtime environment. So we're going to give that a few minutes to deploy, and then I'll come back when it's done. So now that it's done deploying and your app is running, there's one more change we have to make on the Bluemix side. So let's go ahead and click on the Overview tab on the left side of the screen. This will bring you into the application dashboard, and this shows you how many instances are running, where you can also increase the amount of instances, how much memory is allocated to your application, and any services that are bound to your app. It also has an activity log here where it shows you whenever the app was started, when the app was updated, and if the app crashes, it will show up on this log as well. So we have to make a change to this service. So click on the menu button at the top right of the SQL database service and go to rename service. So we're going to rename the service so that its new name is going to be Vaadin, and you can leave the -SQLDB. So the reason we're renaming this is because the sample code that we're going to be using is actually looking for the specific named service. So if it was named anything else, the app wouldn't be able to find it and your deployment would fail. So let's just go ahead and save it as Vaadin SQLDB. So as you can see here, the new name shows up under the service name. So now that we've done that, the next step is to get the sample code. So this is IBM Bluemix DevOps Services, also known as JazzHub. And this is basically where your application code is hosted. And the sample code that we're going to be using today is the Simple CRM program from Vaadin. And this page that you're seeing is the project overview page in DevOps Services. And this is where all your files in your project are listed. And it will also display your README if you have one. So the first step to getting started is to clone the project to your own space. So we're going to go to the Fork Project button at the top right and click on that. And that will open up this Fork Project dialog. Let's go ahead and give our project a name. Give it the same name as your application that you created in Bluemix. Things to note on this page. First is the URL, and this is the URL to your project overview page, similarly to the link that you clicked on to get to the Simple CRM project. Next is the private project checkbox. This will basically only allow you and your teammates to view your project and nobody else. Next one is the add features for Scrum development. This will enable our track and plan feature in DevOps Services that will allow you to create epics and stories and other features for Scrum development, such as creating work items. The final checkbox is the Make This a Bluemix project. For our project today, you want to make sure that the Bluemix project checkbox is checked. The other two don't really matter. Next, you want to verify that these three drop downs are correct. You want the Bluemix US South. You want to make sure you have your organization selected. Since I'm part of multiple organizations, I have a few different choices. Same goes with spaces. If this is your first application, you'll most likely only have one space. So just make sure you select dev. Then when you're done with that, go ahead and hit create. Now that we have our own version of the project, let's go ahead and make some changes to the code. Go ahead and click on the edit code button at the top right. This will open up the web-based IDE where you can make changes to your code directly in your browser. One thing to notice is that this is a Maven project in Java, which means that we have a pom.xml file. This file is used to declare any dependencies that your application needs. This will be important later on when we come to the build stage. So let's find the manifest.yml file in the project directory. This file is used by Bluemix to configure your application when deploying. Bluemix will create an application with the name defined here, with this number of instances, with this amount of memory, and with the code found at this path. Bluemix will also attempt to bind any services that you have listed under the services section. Remember how we had to rename that service at the beginning in Bluemix? That's because that service name is defined in this file. If we had not renamed the service in Bluemix, the deployment would have failed, since Bluemix would not have been able to find the Vaadin SQLDB service. So the only change that we have to make in this file is changing the name. Let's go ahead and change this to that unique name that I told you to create at the very beginning in Bluemix. What's going to happen is, when we deploy this application, since this application already exists with this name, we're going to overwrite that application with this application code. So now that we've made our change, let's go ahead and configure our build and deploy pipeline. Click on the build and deploy button at the top right. This is the pipeline. This is where you configure your build, your deploy, and your test stages. So let's go ahead and click add stage. And this is going to be our build stage, so let's rename this as build. You want to make sure under branch you select master. And take note of stage trigger. Make sure that the run jobs whenever a change is pushed to Git is selected. This just says that whenever a push is changed, or a change is pushed, that this build stage is going to kick off automatically. So click on the jobs tab at the top, click add job, and select build. So for builder type, we're going to select Maven. So this is going to go through that pom.xml file I showed you and pull in all the dependencies that your application needs. So when you're done with that, go ahead and hit save. And that will create your build stage. So now we need a deploy stage. So click add stage. Go ahead and rename this to deploy. And take note of stage trigger on this one. Run jobs when the previous stage is completed. So what's going to happen is you push your changes to Git, then the build stage will kick off, and then when the build stage is done, the build artifacts will be sent to the deploy stage, where they will automatically be deployed to Bluemix. So let's go ahead and click the jobs tab at the top, click add jobs, go to deploy, and you just want to verify that this information is correct. And then in deploy script, you want to go in and type -p space *war. So that means that we're going to look for the specific war file when deploying. And since we added the asterisk, that's the wildcard character, it's going to deploy any war file found in your project directory. Go ahead and hit save when done. And now we have a build and deploy stage. Notice how at the top we have this message that says our workspace is undergoing changes, but we need to commit and push them. Let's go ahead and hit the link to Git page. Now if you don't have that link, or if you miss the message, you can get there through the IDE by clicking on the little Git button under the pencil on the left side. This will take you to the Git repository just the same. Now on the right side of the screen, we have all the files that have been changed in this previous edit. Go ahead and hit Select All to select all the files. Then we have to enter a commit message. This message is basically descriptive, so people will know what was changed in this last edit. Once you've entered a message, go ahead and hit commit. And then now the edit is ready to be pushed to the cloud. So hit push. And now your change has been applied. So let's go ahead and check on our build to deploy pipeline. Since we configured the stages to run automatically, our build stages are already running. If you click on the build button, you'll be brought to this build log, and you can see all the dependencies being downloaded. This will take a few minutes, so I'm going to go ahead and use video magic here and come back when it's done. So now our build stage has finished successfully. Let's go ahead and check on the deploy stage. So the deploy stage is already running off. Let's go ahead and click on the deploy button under jobs to view the deploy logs. Again, this will take a few minutes, so I'm going to go ahead and pause it now and come back later on. So now that our application is finished deploying successfully, let's go ahead and check it out. So now there are a few ways to actually get to your application from here. We can either click on the route provided right here in the deploy stage. We can either go back to the application dashboard in Bluemix and click on it here, or you could manually type it into the browser. We'll go ahead and click on it in deploy stage, since that will be easiest. So as you'll notice, you'll get this error, the error 404 file not found on the index when you first load. So we're going to go ahead and click / and add app to the end of the URL. Then we'll hit enter, and this will bring you to the actual application. So the first thing we have to do is fill the test data into the database. So go ahead and click on that button, and it'll import some fake data. So this is your application running. As you've noticed, Vaadin has created a table for you to import all of your customers. Vaadin has also created some handy visualization for you. Pretty neat way to visualize all your data. Also, Vaadin has included a map in the sample application that you could use. So that's been our application. I hope you've enjoyed the walkthrough and the Vaadin Boilerplate, and I hope you learned a lot about Bluemix and the DevOps services as well. So if you have any questions or comments or concerns, go ahead and leave a comment down below, and feel free to reach out to me if you need any help. Thank you very much. Bye.